Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our class on working with investors. I am glad that you are here. We have a great training today. We're going to discuss the different ways that we can look up investment properties, analyze investment properties for our buyers who are maybe interested in looking for a quick fix and flip in today's market, or if they're looking for a rental income property, how to analyze the potential returns on these rental income properties. If you have any questions, please feel free, ask questions. And as you know, I am recording our class, and you can find our class inside of my YouTube channel later on this afternoon so you guys can rewatch and practice. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are going to use a combination of different programs today. We are going to use the MLS. This is why I'm logged into the MLS right now. But we're also going to use RPR. We're going to use IMAP. We're also going to log into a few of the auction websites where properties are held in auction. So there's a lot to cover. All right, so inside the MLS, we're going to go with our first scenario, which is we have a client who approached us and they are looking to buy a property and renovate the property and then flip it for a profit. So back, I want to say around 10 years ago, that was a very popular thing to do. Property values were lower and people were obtaining properties at a lower price, purchasing the property, renovating the property, and flipping it for a profit. Then, of course, property values did go up. Even the properties that needed a little help and a little renovating, even those property values were up as well. And foreclosures were down. Now, there's been a recent uptake or increase in foreclosure activity in the MLS, and you guys will see it for yourself now once I log in. So there are more opportunities today for a fix and flip. All right, so let's go ahead and get started by searching for a single family home. So we're going to click on search RE1, RE2, and we are going to now search for a single family home. All right, we're not going to go ahead and we're not going to run this scenario for a condo. We're going to run the scenario for a house. All right, so clicking on single family home, then clicking on single here for type of property. Now down below, underneath the additional fields, you will need to add an additional field called REO. These are your foreclosed properties, properties that were on the market or are on the market and being sold by the bank. So these are your bank-owned REO properties. Let's go ahead and click on yes. And as you see here, there are a total of 289 single family homes right now in our Southeast Florida MLS that are foreclosed and for sale. All right, if you're looking for Miami-Dade County properties, click on Miami-Dade County. The number now is 120. Guys, just a year ago, I would do this and we probably had 20 foreclosures for sale. So as you can see, that number has increased substantially. All right. So we are looking at 120 matches. Now, let's say our client is looking for no more than $500,000. So we're going to go $500,000 or less, and you have 18 matches. All right. So in all of Miami-Dade County, I'm just going to go ahead and click on results because we're not going to pick on any particular zone or area. We're going to learn how to find these properties and analyze the properties. So let's go ahead and click on the very first one. The lowest price property is 285,000. Seems like a small property, which is a two-bedroom, one bathroom. All right. So let's take a look here. Yep, it's a small home, as you can see, and it needs major renovations, right? I mean, this is actually what we're looking for. As long as that the home is not deemed unlivable and it needs to be knocked down and it has good bones, then maybe we can go ahead and renovate this property. So this property is a smallish property, right? It's only 864 square feet, total of 879 square feet, two bedrooms, one bathroom. This is in the Opelika neighborhood of Miami. So it's actually a city, Opelika. And then it's a 6,000 square foot lot. So it's actually a large large lot. And taking a look here, the remarks, right? You have the remarks, and this is a Department of Housing and Urban Development. So it's a HUD property, right? So it's a foreclosure HUD property, Fannie Mae. And you have the case number there being sold as is. All right. So come here, take a look. All right, they are accepting cash, also FHA 203K loan. So do you guys know what an FHA 203K loan is? Obviously, you probably know what an FHA loan is. What is the 203K loan is? What is that? All right, Crystal, Fabiola, Victoria, no one? All right, so the FHA 203K loan is a loan that FHA has for buyers who want to live in this property but also renovate the property. So when FHA actually loans you the money to buy the house but also to renovate the home. So let's say the house costs you 285 and the estimated repairs on a property is an additional 40,000. FHA is also going to loan you the 40,000. So on top of the 285, they're going to loan you the 40,000 so you can renovate the home. So that's what they're putting here that FHA loans, FHA 203K loans are acceptable. Okay. Now come down here, you'll see this property's been on the market now for only 25 days. Its original list price is 25. My next step as a realtor is to look at the property history right here. Let's take a look at the property history, and it has no prior history to now. Before that, it was back in 2018. So there's no prior history. What I was looking for is any activity currently in today's market. Was it under contract? Did it fall through? Things of that nature. And no, it just hit the market just recently. All right. So I'm going to go back to listing right here. So what we want to do is determine the value of this property. So we want to run a quick CMA and determine the value of the property. So let's go ahead and click on IMAP. You see right here, that little symbol right here, that's IMAP. That's going to open up a different screen where we can run a CMA on this property. So on the right-hand side, we will click on Find Comparables. All right. We will click on Find Comparables, and we're going to go ahead and see what the property is worth. So our comparison criteria for any CMA should be 20% difference in lot size, 20% difference in lot size, and 20% difference in living area size. And then we should have here location located within half a mile, and then also sold within the last 6 months. So if you have that comparison criteria, you're going to get the proper comps, as you can see right here. All right. Now we have all of these comps. We have here 375, 230, 265, or 365, sorry, 247, 390, and 283. The value could be anywhere from 254 all the way up to 450. All the way up to 450. So in the best case scenario, under these market conditions, your property could be worth up to 450. Now, is it worth 450 today? No, right? This property is not worth 450, right? Now, what's the lowest case scenario is 254. Okay, 254. So if you could buy it for 254 today, or you could buy it for 250 and maybe renovate the home, and it'll cost you around $80,000 in renovating the home. And then you place it back on the market and sell it for 450, would that work? I mean, I think it would work, right? So let's go here on the upper right corner. Let's click on property tax and see how much this foreclosure happened for. So you'll see that the foreclosure happened back in May of this year for $162,000, right? Bank of America, Grantor, and you have HUD, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and they took over the property for $162,000. Okay. Before that, you did have the actual foreclosure certificate of transfer. And right here we had who was the owner, and Bank of America took back the property for $237,000. All right, so knowing these values, we're gonna build an offer on this property, right? We're gonna build an offer on this property. We're gonna go ahead and offer, let's say 230 on the property. Remember, they're asking for 285. All right, they're asking for 285. So let's go ahead and offer a $235,000. And what we want to do is learn how to analyze the potential returns on a property like this when we offer 235,000. So for that, we're going to go ahead and click on RPR, which is right here. Can everyone see that logo right there? That's RPR. We're going to launch our RPR program. All right, so as you can see, the RVM or the estimated value on the property is 258. All right, we're going to offer just a little bit lower than that. We're going to come over here and we're going to look for valuate. We're going to look for evaluate and we're going to click on it and we're going to click on continue. Now let's learn how to evaluate the property. All right. And if you get to this screen where it says upgrade, go ahead and click here where it says click here in orange. Do not click on upgrade. There's no need for you to pay for an upgrade. So click here. Only select the property you are studying today, so September 16th today, and then go ahead and click on submit selection. All right, that's going to get you into the program without having to pay for it. All right, we are running a flip scenario, so we're going to click on flip. Later on in class, we're going to learn how to run a long-term hold rental income scenario. So let's go with the flip scenario. And we are purchasing the property, purchase price, we're purchasing the property for, let's say, 240. Go with 240. All right, I had mentioned 230. Let's go with 240. And we need to determine what the full year holding cost is. So what are our costs? Let's begin with taxes. You come back over here to the MLS and you can also open IMAP, but you'll see that last year's taxes, 2024, were just about $4,500, right? A little over $4,500. So we have $4,500 in taxes. Let's say insurance is going to cost us another $4,000, right? So now we're at $8,500. And then let's say utilities for a whole year, combined water and electricity, will cost me right around 3,000. So 8,500 plus 3,000 is now 11,500. Let's just round it off to $12,000 for yearly expense. What yearly expense are we talking about? Once again, property taxes, insurance, utilities, water, and electricity. Now, we don't really have to hold on to the property for a full year, but in order to determine the potential returns, we need to put in what our yearly expense will be. Okay. Now, we are planning on purchasing this property quickly, October 1st, right? And the holding period is going to be 6 months. Our plan is to buy the property, renovate the property, and sell the property within a 6 month time frame. Okay. Now we have over here loan to value. If the buyer is going to take out a loan with a hard money lender, then you're going to place the percentage of the loan there. All right. There aren't buyers or there aren't any loans, conventional or FHA loans that you're going to take out for a short amount of time. All right. Buyer is going to lose money. So you're going to do a hard money loan, which in most cases you can get up to 85% of the value of the home at a higher interest rate. So your short-term loan is pretty much a 1 year loan, 12-month loan. And we're going to go ahead and put it in here as a 10% interest rate. So it's a slightly higher interest rate. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and click on submit. Let's click on submit. And now let's go up here to where it says purchase and sale. Let's click on purchase and sale. And then for renovation budget, so on the left, find renovation budget. Let's say this house is going to take about $70,000. All right, let's go with $70,000, maybe more, maybe 80,000. Let's go with $80,000 to fully renovate the home, brand new interior, right? Brand new kitchen, Not sure how the roof is, but it's a small home, so maybe even if we put a new shingle roof, it's not really going to cost as much. Let's go with $80,000 to get this home up to, market conditions, right? So let's go back over here and let's put in $80,000 is our renovation budget. All right. Now, over here on the right, you're going to estimate how much you think you're going to sell the home for. If you guys remember when we went to IMAP, we did a comp analysis on the property and it told us the highest possible value is 450,000. Now, let's not go too much. Let's go 425. Let's say that we sell it for 425. Okay? I want you guys to pay attention up here. Okay? We have, if you purchase the property all cash, you have a $99,000 profit. If you purchase the property with a hard money lender, you have an $85,415 profit. So this is profit over a 6 month period. Would you say that this is a healthy profit? Look at the profit margins, guys. If you buy cash, you're talking 23.29% profit on the money that you spent. And then over here, if you actually use a hard money lender, someone to loan you 85% of the value, you're still making 20% profit on your investment over a 6 month period. Remember, $80,000 was the cost to renovate the home. Okay, that's total out of pocket $80,000, and you're still profiting 20% on your investment. I would say that this is a good deal if all these numbers are true, right? Now I'm gonna go here to the MLS and open up IMAP real quick once more. Let's go run that comparable again, and let's find the property that gives us this value. Which property gives us 450,000? So it's the highest price per square foot. The highest price per square foot, we're gonna come here. This one sold at 520 a square foot. I believe that's the one. Yes, that is the one. You got 294 a square foot, 467, 344, 497, and 347. So the property that sold at the highest price per square foot is actually a property that is two bedrooms with one bathroom and only 720 square feet. All right. That property right there. Okay. That property right there sold for 375 and it sold in August of this year. It sold at $520 a square foot. Don't pay attention to the 375 sales price. Pay attention to the price per square foot. So based on size alone, you're probably looking at somewhere around 450 for your home because your home is larger. It's 876. Okay. So based on those numbers, we put together our numbers here, and we think that we could sell our property at 425 and you're still looking at a healthy profit. What if you don't sell it at 425? What if you sell it at 400,000? So come over here, put a gross valuation sales price of 400,000, and do you still have a healthy profit margin? Yes, right? I mean, you're still looking at 15% profit over a 6 month period. Ideally, you want to stay right around 20% or higher, but 15% profit in a worst case scenario, selling it for $400,000 is not a bad deal. All right, this is a good deal. So, guys, print this, right? File, export a PDF, print it, and present it to your buyer as an opportunity. Okay. Next, you want to go back to the MLS and you want to go ahead and click on next. This is another property over here. This is in the Northwest Miami-Dade part of our county. And we have here a property listed at 382. This is also an 800 square foot home, two bedrooms, one bathrooms, and pretty much repeat the process, right? All offers must be submitted to vrmproperties.com. So you're going to have to go to vrmproperties.com to submit your offer. You're going to click on start offer. The property may qualify for seller financing. If property was built before 1978, lead-based paint disclosure potentially exists. All right, not disclosure, but lead-based paint potentially exists. Okay, so you want to study this property. It's been on the market for 14 days now. And of course, you click on IMAP and we start the whole process over. All right. We start the whole process. When was the foreclosure? All right. You're going to take a look over here. And Nation Star Mortgage assumed the property for 394. All right. And then you come over here, you hit find comparables, and let's see if we have any comps. So within this area, within the last 6 months, there are no comps. Go back a year. Go back a year, and we do have one comp, guys, and it's right here. I would not consider this a good opportunity. Unfortunately, we're looking at a house, right, that is 382. Now, let's take a look at the inside of the house. All right. As you can see, the house has been renovated. So this is an actual foreclosure that was renovated. So this is not a quick fix and flip. So then we move on to the next property. All right. Here we have 399,000. It is a larger home. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom in North Miami. Take a quick look at the pictures. And let's see that, yes, this house needs some renovating, right? It needs some renovations. So at this point, again, click on IMAP, find comparables on the right-hand side, guys, and you're looking at an average price of $592,000. 592, 399. There's enough room for us to renovate and profit. All right, so run the study again. Click on RPR, click on Valuate, enter your numbers. And then finally, go ahead and produce the potential returns on this property if you purchase it at the right price, spend the right amount of money, and quickly turn around and flip it for a profit. Now, that was just the average, right? 592 was just the average. What's the highest possible return? All right, it's a lot. It's 937,000. So let's do something. Let's go within the same subdivision. Within the same subdivision, hit update criteria. So now we're looking at 379, 504 being the average, and 630 being the highest. So within the same subdivision, there are two comps right here. 630 being the highest. Once again, you're buying it at 399, probably a little lower than that. I still think that this is a good deal. All right. Run the numbers. And guys, like that, you can go through every single listing in the MLS, making sure that your buyer is going to be interested in a high profit. All right. Any questions on those exercises? Those exercises that are going to guarantee us that we find our buyer a property with good returns. All right. All right, guys, that's for a quick fix and flip. And again, how did I get there? I did a search of a house, so RE1, and I clicked on single family home, single, and I went over here and I clicked on REO, and I answered yes. And we have all these foreclosure opportunities, all those foreclosure opportunities. Then I clicked on a county and I went one by one, kind of looking at the different properties that were available. Now, I did put in a price range of $500,000 or less. I just want you to know there's 120 foreclosures listed right now in Miami-Dade County. And the highest price foreclosure is, let's sort by price, $6.9 million. $6.9 million. You're looking at this property right here. All right. And unfortunately, wow, they just built this property. It's already in a foreclosure. Let's take a look at IMAP real quick. And let's take a look here. I think this is a mistake by the listing agent. How could this be a foreclosure if it's a newly built home? Let's go to the next one. All right. Let's click on this one. This is $5 million. All right. And click on find comparables and see what we have. See what we have. We have over here $4.4 million. They're asking $5 million. Once again, It could be a mistake. I'm not sure why they said that this is an REO. It could be a mistake. I don't see any indications that this was a foreclosure. When you go back to IMAP, you'll see that there is an owner and there is an owner right here, and there is no indication of a foreclosure. What's the indication of a foreclosure? Well, you'll see the foreclosure case number, and then if it already occurred, you would see what's called certificate of transfer. Instead of a warranty deed, you would see a certificate of transfer. I don't see a foreclosure happening here. All right, so just maybe a mistake on the listing agent answering yes to REO when he should have answered no. See here? Short sale, no. REO, yes. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe not. We have to look into it. All right, guys. So there are many, many different opportunities. Now, how else can we help our clients find foreclosures that are worth purchasing and flipping for a profit? Well, you can go to the Miami-Dade County or Broward County or Palm Beach County foreclosure site. So in Miami-Dade County, it's miamidade.realforeclose.com. Miamidade.realforeclose.com. In Broward County, it's broward.realforeclose.com. All you need to do is land in one of these pages, and you can always go to the left where it says jump to, and you can go to Broward County, right, in Florida. You can go to Palm Beach County. You can go to any county in Florida and see what the foreclosure opportunities are when it comes to auctions. Okay. I invite you to click on start here, learn more about how these auctions are performed. And then once you're ready, you're going to register your client for the auction. To look at the auction calendar, you click on the calendar right here. And today's date is the 16th. Let's go future. Let's go to the 22nd. The 22nd is this date right here. And you see that there are all these foreclosure auctions ready to begin on the 22nd of September at 9 o'clock in the morning. These auctions are all online, and it's obviously done with a bidding process. You will bid on the property. Your client will bid on the property. So it is important for us realtors to do due diligence and help our client understand the value of this home and how high they are willing to go with their bid. Okay? Learn more about these foreclosures and how it occurs. You can always click on start here. Let's go back one more. Click on start here and learn more about these foreclosures. I will tell you just quickly, the buyer is going to need a 5% deposit on the estimated highest bid. So if your client is looking at bidding the max for a home, $3,000 or sorry, $300,000, then they're going to need 5% of $300,000 in deposit. If your client's looking to bid max 500,000, then they're going to need 5% of 500,000 in deposit. All right. Deposits are done electronically or they could be done in person, as you can see here. When your client wins the auction and wins the bidding, you can also pay it through here in cashier's check within 24 hours. All right, the bidding happens online and it happens in increments of $100. All right, so when you're bidding on a property, you're going to bid in increments of $100. You're not going to outbid someone by thousands of dollars. You're going to outbid someone by $100 max. All right, so let's say it's between you and another person. It's going to go up in increments by $100 until the last person stands. Okay? So it's not like someone bid 300,000 and you can come in and say 350. That's not how it works. If someone bid 300,000, your next bid would be $300,100. Okay? If you guys want to see how this actually works, you are always invited to go to the auction calendar and you want to go study, let's say February, September 2nd. All right, let's take a look at September 2nd, which already occurred. Look, canceled by bankruptcy. All right, look here. The plaintiff, which is the bank, took back the property for a total amount of $410,100. See, in increments. All right, so the bank won the auction by $100 over the next person. The bank here won the auction. Go to the next screen, and you're gonna see here a third party bidder. A third party bidder won the auction at 9:17 in the morning for 300,000. That's an investor. An investor took down this property for 300,000. Here's a third party bidder. Another investor bought this property for $404,100 at 9:20 in the morning. All right. And then here's the plaintiff. The bank took it back. Here's an investor. They won that auction. Here's another investor. They won that auction. So, again, do your due diligence as a realtor. Help your buyer as much as possible, determining the possible value of the home and go in there. Most of these homes are not listed, and you're gonna have to just do your due diligence and buy the property as is. All right, buy the property as is. That's how most of these are gonna work. Okay. All right, guys. There are other auction websites like auction.com. All right, the one that I just showed you for Miami-Dade or Broward County are official foreclosure auction sites for the county. But then there's something like auction.com where you'll be able to come in here and bid on properties that are through private auction websites like this one. All right. So you can come over here, put in Miami, see what's in Miami. And then there's all these different foreclosure properties or these auction properties that are being sold through auction.com. And once again, there is going to be a minimum deposit required. And then, of course, there's going to be bidding on the property, and it's done like any other auction. You need to outbid everyone else in order to take the property. All right, guys, let's go ahead and now switch our focus to rental income properties. All right, so we're going to come over here to the MLS and we're going to click on a residential income, multifamily income property. All right, from here, we're going to decide whether our client is looking for a duplex, a fourplex, or a triplex. All right, let's say, for instance, our client is looking for a fourplex, right? They want four rental incomes in one property. And they're looking to buy this in Miami-Dade County. There's currently 154 properties. Let's go to zip code 33135. 33135. We're looking at 15 matches. Let's click on results. All right, we have all of these, right? 1.1 million, 1,250,000, all the way up to almost $5 million. Let's go with $1,250,000. All right, so here we have a fourplex. They're not really offering much as how much income is being generated on this one, unless it's all four, right? All four units leased at $1,750. If that's the case, then obviously you would multiply 1750 times four. All right, so I'm gonna move on to the next one, see if we can get a better picture without having to call the agent. All right. So we do. So this is $1.3 million dollars, and you're looking at $8,000 of income per month. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. The reason why I moved on from the previous one is because we were not certain on the numbers, and I would have to call the listing agent and ask, hey, how much income is being generated from your four units? In this case, they're telling us that all four units are rented at $2,000 each, bringing your monthly income to $8,000. All right. Now, I could actually do a quick analysis on this by grabbing the $8,000 monthly income, right? $8,000 monthly income and multiplying it times the $1.3 million sales price. So multiplying it times um not multiplying it, sorry. Oh my goodness. Multiplying it times 12. So $8,000 multiplied times 12, we're looking at $96,000, right? Now divide that by $1.3 million. So $96,000 divided by 1,300,000, you're looking at 7.5%, right? 7.3%. And that is your returns on your investment on a yearly basis on a gross level, your gross return. So if your gross is 7.3, what do you think your net's going to be? What do you think the net value is going to be? It's going to be lower, right? I mean, you have expenses, okay? You have expenses. Now, coming down here, do they offer any kind of income expense report? They do not. All right. In the remarks, are they offering us any kind of idea on what the expenses are? They do not. One last thing, there's an attachment. See up here, attachments? Let's click on the attachment. There's a marketing package. Maybe the marketing package has what we're looking for. All right, let's see if there's any type of income expenses. All right, so here we have the purchase price of $1,300,000, right? And it is 100% occupied, and the net operating income currently is 70,880 with a cap rate of 5.4%. Cash on cash current is 5.3%. All right. So they did somewhat of a presentation for us. And then they're telling us here, utilities and expenses. So they did the report for us. Okay. This is a nice professional presentation by the listing agent. Now, if you guys want to do the same thing, you can always click on RPR. See up here? Click on RPR. All right. Let's click on evaluate right here. Evaluate, and let's click on continue. This time it's not going to be a quick fix and flip. RPR is going to recognize that it is a multi-family property. Therefore, we don't have the option for fix and flip. This is a 4 unit and the purchase price is $1,300,000. So let's leave it at that. And the gross potential rent is $96,000 a year. That's $8,000 times 12, right? Operating expenses and reserves. So beginning with taxes. What are last year's taxes? Last year's taxes were almost $12,000, 11,650. All right. So let's just round it off to 12,000. Insurance on a multifamily property like this is probably going to cost you somewhere around $8,000 to $10,000. So right now our operating expenses are 12,000 plus another 10,000 for insurance. $22,000 is my estimated expense. All right. Now that's taxes and insurance. How about utilities? Who's paying the utilities? All right. Rent includes lawn care, pest control, sewer, trash removal, and water. So the landlord pays for the water. The tenants pay for electricity. So if the landlord pays for water, then let's assume that water is going to cost us somewhere around 300 a month. All right. This is a 4 unit building, all 2 bedrooms, 1 bathrooms, 300 a month. 300 a month times 12, that's 3,600 a year. All right. So come up here and add another $3,600 to this. Let's just round it off to $26,000. All right. And that's going to be our expense. What else do we have to pay for? Lawn maintenance. Let's say we hire a landscaper to come once a month or maybe twice a month. Let's say our once a month cost for landscaping here. How much landscaping do we need? We need some landscaping, as you can see, right? All right. So we need some landscaping, some maintenance. Let's say landscaping a month is going to cost us about 250 a month. All right. So 250 a month, multiply it times 12. Let's go with another 3 grand. All right. So $29,000 in expenses. $29,000 in expenses, and we have a gross income of $96,000. Buy this property on November 1st, right? We're in the middle of September right now. Let's go 45 days. Let's go buy it November 1st. We're going to come up with 70% in loan value. That means that we're going to put 30% down. We're buying this with 30% down. Our interest rate is going to be 6.5%. And let's go ahead and click on submit. Using these numbers, you are looking at a healthy return. Unlevered analysis equals cash purchase. Levered analysis equals financed. So when financing, you're making a greater internal rate of return on your property. You're making 8.11% versus 6.6% if you put in the money all in cash. On the right, you have your average cash on cash. Well, obviously, if you finance, you're going to have less cash flow, 5.03 versus 6.5% cash flow if you buy it cash. However, this is great news. 5% cash on cash means you do not, as the buyer, you do not have to put out of your pocket every year to realize a profit. All right, to realize a profit in this case, you are doing very well and you have money left over. All right. When is it not a good investment? When you are realizing a small profit, and then this value over here is either at zero or at a negative value. If it is at a negative value, that means that the buyer, the investor, has to put out of their pocket every month in order to realize a profit. So you want to stay above, uh, you want to stay in the positive when it comes to cash on cash, so you can truly realize a profit and have the investment pay for itself, right? The investment's going to pay for itself. Obviously, the buyer needed to come up with 30% down, and then obviously qualify for a loan at 6.5% in order to make this work. You guys can always come over here to sources of funds. You can play around with the interest rates. You can play around with the down payments, the purchase price, and see how these numbers turn around. Let's say our interest rate jumps to 7% instead of 6.5. Change it to 7. Are we still looking at a return? Yes, we are. We're looking at a 7.86 rate of return yearly, and our cash flow is still high. It's still 4.7%. So just increasing our interest rate by half a percentage point, you're still looking at realizing a profit. All right. Guys, this is math. This is easy. Let Valuate do the work for you. Let Valuate do the work for you. And then you go on to the next one. And let's say they're looking at this property. This is $1.4 million. And here we're looking at income of 2.2500, 2400, 2500, 2300. I mean, I have an idea. This property is probably going to generate even more of a percentage return than the previous one, because this one is close to $10,000 in monthly income. I mean, you're looking at 2500 plus 2400 plus 2500 plus 2300. You're looking at $9,700 for just $100,000 more, right? In the cost to purchase the property. So this one seems like an even better opportunity. So those of you that have clients looking for fourplexes, zip code 33135 is in Little Havana. You've got great opportunities. Take a look. This property here is pulling nearly $10,000 a month in income, and you can buy it for only $1.4 million. All right, it is a great opportunity. Okay. All right, guys. So that pretty much sums up how we're going to use the MLS to look for investment properties, how we're going to analyze them. And, if you need me to repeat it, I can repeat it on this property just to confirm. I will repeat it actually. So before I wrap up, I'm just going to go ahead and repeat it one more time. Once we find a property where we have sufficient income and it looks good versus the price of the home, go ahead and click on RPR. Right? Go ahead and click on RPR, then come over here and click on Evaluate. Click on Continue. All right, so we saw the home. Our buyer likes the home. Our buyer wants to put in a purchase price, full offer of $1.4 million. The gross potential rent. So I said that the monthly rent was $9,700 times 12. You're looking at 116,400. 116,400. Let me just read real quick here because that's a lot. Turnkey fourplex in Little Havana, just one block from Calle Ocho. This fully renovated property features four two-bedroom, one bathrooms, each with central AC, modern kitchen. The building has completed its 40-year recertification. All right. Awesome. Awesome. And rent includes sewer, water, and trash removal. So, tenants pay for their own electricity. All right. So coming over here, we got operating expenses, taxes. Taxes last year, $13,000. Plus another 10 in insurance, right? I mean, I'm just gonna leave it at 10,000 for insurance. So right away, we're at $23,000 in expenses. Water, once again, let's go with 300 a month. 300 a month times 12, that's 3,600. So let's bring it up to $27,000 in expenses, plus our maintenance guy. Let's say our maintenance guy charges us, um, let's say our maintenance guy charges us 500 a month, right? Maybe that's a lot. Maybe that's a lot. Let's see. All right. I don't see much grass or much maintenance. That is a lot. All right. Let's say we got somebody coming in and maintaining the property, doing some maintenance, routine maintenance, and it's gonna cost us 3,000 a year. All right. So that's gonna leave us at a cool $30,000 in expenses. Once again, buy this on November 1st, since October 1st is fastly approaching. Let's go with 25% down. So 75% loan to value. And let's go with 7% interest rate. All right, 7% interest rate, 25% down, 75% financing. Submit. And folks, your estimated returns on this property, like I imagine, is a lot more. It's 13.5%. If you have a client right now asking you, hey, where can I get a property where I can make 10% returns on my investment yearly? Well, if they are open to buying multifamily properties, then this is the one. This one's got a 13.5% return on your investment. If you multiply 13.5% times 10 years, you are over you're over your total investment. That means you made 113% on your investment. So you made additional profit, right? Not only did you make your money back, but you made more than your money back. So this is a great deal. All right, great deal. That means you are gonna double up on your investment. You invested 25% of $1.4 million. You invested 25% of that and you made back a healthy return of $568,302 over a 10-year period. All right. So, once I saw $1.4 million and I saw this much income, it was a no-brainer. Now, this income is like 1,800, 1,700, 2,000, then you're probably not looking at a as good investment as it really is. All right, guys. So now you know the tricks. Now you know how to work with your investor who's looking for potential high returns. Now let's get busy finding these properties for our clients, working with them, and having them purchase these properties. All right. As always, folks, if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. You can call me. You can set up a a Zoom meeting with me or come in person, and I'd be more than happy to help you through the process. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for today's class, Working with Investors. Again, you can find our class uploaded into the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, later on this afternoon. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Robert. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank
Robert.
you. All right. Bye bye now.
Bye.